Hi guys, it's Legionero. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a sew with me video on McCall's 7851 View B. I'm using a polka dot vinyl that I got from Minerva. I would like to say welcome to all of my new subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. So let's get started. Alright, so we are making View B of McCall's 7851, and make sure you check the back of your pattern envelope, and that will let you know all of the fabric and notions that you are going to need for this project. Alright, so I've already cut out everything I need. You're going to need, for View B, you're going to need pieces number 1, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Alright, so I am using this vinyl fabric from Minerva, and it's a really thin fabric, so I am going to use some foam interfacing, sew-in foam interfacing, to give it a little bit of bite. But before I do that, show you how I add this foam interfacing, I'm going to go ahead and add my pocket piece number 1 to one of my lining pieces. Alright, so when you cut out your fabric, you need 2 of your main fabric, and then if you need to interface that fabric, you cut out 2 interfacing fabrics. You need 2 lining pieces and 2 interfacing pieces for your lining. You need 1 of your lining fabric for your pocket and 1 interfacing. And I've already interfaced my lining fabrics. For number 8, you need to cut 2. For number 9 or 7, I think it's piece number 9, you cut 2 on the fold, and then piece number 6, you cut 2. Alright, so let's take I'm going to take one of my lining pieces and the pocket piece, and I'm going to sew up my pocket, and then I'm going to add my pocket to one of my lining pieces. So I'm going to set all of this to the side, take one of my lining pieces and the pocket piece. Alright, so I have my pocket added to one of my lining pieces, and make sure you press after you sew up your pocket and everything. Being a lazy seamstress, because my iron board is in the other room right now. But don't be like me, press your seams. So now I'm going to take my other lining pieces and I'm going to place them with right side spacing, and I'm going to pin down the sides and across the bottom, and I'm going to leave an opening on one of my sides because we're going to use that to turn the bag once we're done. Right? So I have my other lining piece, and just going to use some clips, and this will be the side that I'll leave the opening, so I'll just use some purple clips here. So this will let me know that I need to leave an opening large enough to turn the bag. And then I'm going to clip all the way down the other side. Alright, and then all the way across the bottom. Right, so take it to the sewing machine. You'll sew down both sides and across the bottom, and then at the sewing machine I will box my corners. Alright, so I have 2 main pieces and 2 foam pieces. What I'm going to do is I am going to set one of my main pieces aside and one of my foam pieces aside, because I'm going to do the same thing to both sides. So the wrong side of my fabric is facing up. I'm just going to take my foam piece, lay it on top and line it up. And I'm going to clip all the way around because I'm going to baste this foam to my main piece. And I'm going to do that to both main pieces. And this is just to give the bag a little bit more body, because the vinyl fabric that I'm using is very, very thin. Right, I'm going to clip the other side the same way, and I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and I'm just going to baste down the sides and across the bottom just to attach this foam to my main fabric. Alright, now that I have the foam basted to my main piece, I am using webbing, but if you're using fabric straps, you cut 2 of these and then you would sew them with right sides facing and then turn them to the right side. That way you'll have a strap. But I am using webbing, so I don't need to do all of that. So I don't need to actually make a fabric strap. Right? So I only needed to cut 1 of the webbing for pieces 6 and 9, but I still do needed to cut 2 for pattern piece number 8. So I'm going to take 1 pattern piece number 8, and I'm going to take pattern piece number 6. Really doesn't matter which piece you do first, 6 or 9, but you do need 1 8, and I'm taking pattern piece number 6. And on your pattern piece, you have placement here. It shows you where to place everything. So I'm just going to kind of lay it here. And you want to make markings on your fabric when you do this. It's just because I'm using this vinyl fabric, I'm not making any markings. So I'm just going to kind of lay it there. And then I am going to gently slide my pattern piece away. Now I'm just using a pin to hold this in place. This is vinyl, so normally you would not use a pin, but since you won't be able to see it anyway, I'm just using a pin to hold this in place. Then I'm taking my piece here and I'm just going to slide it in place. And again, you should have markings on your pattern piece, making sure you have this lined up correctly. All right. If you are using a vinyl fabric like I am, you can definitely use double-sided tape. Alright. You take this pin out. I want to make sure it's far enough down, and I'm just going to pin this in place. Alright. And then make sure it's far enough down, because when I sew around this, I want to make sure I catch the whole strap. I don't want to leave a part out. Alright. And then I'm just going to pin this in place. There we go. Alright, so you're going to take this to the sewing machine and you're just going to sew around your piece number 8, your shorter piece, and it will secure your strap in place. And pin the other side of your main bag with your other piece number 8 and then your piece number 9. Your piece number 9 should be longer than your piece number 6, and you're going to add that to the other main piece the same way you did this piece. Take them both to the sewing machine and then just sew around to sew this in place. Alright, now that I got my straps on both of my main pieces, I'm going to take my main pieces, I'm going to kind of move that strap out of the way. I'm going to take them and I'm going to place them with right sides facing. And I am going to clip this in place. Make sure everything is lined up nice and neat. And I'm going to clip down both sides and across the bottom. And I'm going to sew it just like I sewed my lining pieces, except for I'm not going to leave an opening. I'm going to sew completely down both sides and completely across the bottom. And then I'm also going to box my corners just like I did the lining pieces. Alright, so now that I have my two main pieces sewn together, I'm going to turn this to the right side. So there's one side, here's the other side. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take my lining, I'm going to leave my lining with the wrong side facing out. I'm going to take the main bag and place it on the inside of my lining. Again, making sure that strap is out of the way. Right, And I'm just going to clip all the way around. And I'm making sure I grab that foam piece as well. So I got my lining, my main bag, and the foam. I probably should have based the foam across the top as well. I just forgot to do that. Right. So once I finish pinning, I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew all the way around. Alright, so now that you've sewn all the way around, use the opening that you left in your lining and pull your bag to the right side. Alright, so make sure everything is sewn together properly. I'm going to take this to the sewing machine. I'm just going to sew up this opening that I left in the lining. Just going to tuck in that seam allowance. And then I'm going to sew really close to this edge. Then I'm going to place my lining on the inside of my bag, and then I'm going to top stitch around. Right, I sewed up the opening that I left in my lining. Now I'm just going to place my lining on the inside of the bag. Ow. Right, once you get everything on the inside of the bag, make sure you just kind of tuck everything in all nice and neat. Now I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and just top stitch around the edge. And then I'll be all done. And if you, like me, working with this vinyl and you can't press it, all you have to do is take some clips, and I don't have my clips over here. All you have to do is take some clips, tuck in your lining like this. So the only thing that's showing is your main fabric, and then just clip it around to hold it in place while you sew around. Like this. That holds your fabric in place. Now, with this red lining, that pop of color would be neat on the top, but I'm going to try not to do that. Yeah, just kind of maneuver with your fingers. And then take it to the sewing machine and top stitch. Alright, so the bag is all done. And I can already tell you I don't like the foam interfacing in this bag. It makes it too bulky. So if I were to do this again using this fabric, I would probably take a fusible, not a fusible fleece, but a sew-in fleece, because that's thinner than the foam and it won't be so chunky like. And then when the top stitched up here, it got caught a lot. So this is how it's supposed to be. This is the front, then the longer strap in the back. So you fold over this top part, and then looks like you take the back strap and pull it through. Alright. But of course you see how the foam is just making it just way too big to lay down. I'm gonna have a time trying to take photos for Minerva. I may end up making it again out of a different fabric for my, well, I can't do that because this is the fabric from Minerva. So yeah. But yeah, this is the bag. I don't like it. I think I will like it better in a different fabric. Well, this fabric probably would be fine if I use a different interfacing. So I may make it again and use fleece and sew in some fleece just to give the give it a little bit more body. But yeah, that's the gist of how to make the bag. So if you're wondering how to make the bag, this is how you do it. This is my end result. Like I said, I don't like it, but it is a very easy sew. Doesn't take much time at all. I'll say from cut to finish, maybe 2 hours. Yeah, and that's cutting, interfacing, and sewing. I would say about 2 hours on this bag, but it's a very easy sew. No zippers, no buttons, anything like that. So I do recommend making view B. I've made view C. That view is easy as well. I have not made view A, and I haven't made view D yet. But B and C, very easy sews. C is just pretty much just a clutch bag, but you have this handle here that you add to it. So, but yeah, I do recommend the pattern. My fabric and interfacing choices were not the best. But yeah, that is how you make McCall's 7851 View B.